So we're back. We want to give you a few more statutes and explain with some examples what our rights are. My dinner's still cooking, so. Okay, right to your own things. You have the right to have your own things. I have the right to have my own things, but let's hear what they have to say. Right to your own things.
Here's a summary from Stand Up for Human Rights. Right to own property. You have the right to own things. 1. Everyone has the right to own property alone as well as in association with others. 2. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property.
Do you know what that just said? You heard it right. Everybody has the right to own property. So, why is it that the government and the state keep on foreclosing through their big, frivolous mortgage companies? If you see all these homes out here that have these blue tape foreclosure notices, you notice they all have blue tape, right? And you notice when you call the office to find out about them. Look, I used to flip homes, okay, in Kissimmee, Florida area, Central Florida. I know what I'm talking about here. There is a blue notice on the home. After a foreclosure, that home sits vacant for years. The back taxes don't get paid on it by the mortgage company. Why? Because the mortgage company is part of the governmented what? That's what it is. The government. So the government took your property. They offered you this extraordinary, extravagant, balloon loan refinance, right? And said that it was going to be this great plan, and it just sounds so flourish, and it was so wonderful, right? And then your payment went up, and then the next month your payment went up some more, and then the next thing you know, your payment went up some more. And this happened to mostly people that were on Social Security, and I know this because, for example, it happened to my aunt, okay? And so the payment went up, and it went up, and it went up, and it went up, until she couldn't afford it anymore. I mean, it was triple the amount. So they foreclosed on their home. The home set bank, and you know what? Still to this. And this was years ago because my aunt's been, love you, Becky. It's going to be like 20 years ago. The home's still vacant today. Okay? All these people out here that are homeless. I don't believe in homelessness. This land is our home. We don't have adequate shelter because the government and the state took that from us. And in order for me to say, I'm going to buy a piece of land, I'm going to post up on a piece of land. And I'm going to stand my ground. Because that's what I need to do to be able to have and to stand up for my rights. I'm going to have something because I have that right to have something. I have the right to my own personal belongings that were taken from me. This is not something that the state of Maine has completely done to me. Okay? There were some frivolous role players in the state of Maine back in the 2005 when it first started. Back before Dale Lancaster became sheriff, there was Barry DeLong. And then there had been Wilfred Hines was on the deputy sheriff's department, and he was pretty good. Okay, people didn't like him, but that's because he did his job. Barry DeLong, he allowed people to get abused. Because why? Well, look at Bella Gogan, she chopped her husband up. Because he was abusive. And she kept on reporting. And they didn't do anything. So she cut him up. And she tossed the keys at the sheriff and said, go get him. She went to the crazy house. It was at Riverview. It used to be, back in the day, it was Am-High. And so she got locked up for 4 years. I don't know what's going on with the woman now, but she did get locked up for 4 years in the nut house. So did my aunt, because she was accused of stabbing her husband. And they didn't go to prison because they wanted him to be found to be incompetent to stand trial. So they took him and they abused him in the psych wards and overdoped him and all kinds of stuff. Oh yeah, I'm aware. Okay? And so knowing that this has happened to Bella Gogan, it happened to my daughter, it happened to my aunt, I've seen it. It happened to my other aunt. I love you, Aunt Becky. I still believe that Bangor knew what they were doing when they pulled the plug, and it took 14 hours for her organs to stop. Okay? So I still believe that Bangor, Maine hospital killed my aunt because she wasn't ready to die. So she had the right to life. That was a violation. That is a very sore subject with me. Personal injury, if I have to say so. But the fact is, I know what happened. And I know what happened to my daughter. And that's why they don't like me. So they try to make it so that I can't have anything. We'll get to that. Stealing my home and my car was evidence of a crime, which in itself was a crime. And I talked to Internal Affairs about it, who again is overseen by TJ Donovan. And of course, because it's all state and government conspired, nothing was done about it. So everybody thinks I'm a liar, except for my eyewitnesses and my friends that know what happened. Because they've been through this with me, the whole fucking way of it. So, that's the right to your own things. Freedom of thought. That means that you don't have to take medications. I'm not going to take medications because medications are made to retrain your brain. Now, what does it mean, freedom of thought?
According to Wikipedia, freedom of thought is the freedom of an individual to hold or consider a fact, viewpoint, or thought, independent of others' viewpoints.
That means that I have the right to speak up. And YouTube, I did not violate anything. I told the truth. And I got violated by YouTube when they deleted all of my information that I shared with you. Because everything I have to say is factual. So why is it even my phone's not even charging? My phone won't stay charged. It keeps on draining, and there's nothing different about my phone. I'm just letting you know. Okay? So freedom of thought. I just told you, retraining your brain, your way of thinking, by medicating, it numbs the front lobe of your brain. And when your front lobe of your brain on the left side gets numbed, these medications that these psych wards and the counselors at Northeast Kingdom Mental Health Services or Crisis and Counseling or any of these psychiatrists are handing out, look up the side effects of what they do to women. I don't care about the guys. I care about what it's doing to ladies, okay? Pay attention. It's numbing your brain. It makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do. It does things to you like, say, when it's wearing off, it still affects you for several days. And I've seen this too, okay? I wasn't there in the psych ward to see it, but I heard it. So you know who I'm talking about, okay? Hearing it on the phone and being abused. My daughter was being abused. And then the phone went dead because it sounded like an African American voice yelling at her and telling her, "You don't even fucking know me, you fucking..." And she was hollering. And it went on. And the phone went dead. And you could hear her getting hit, okay? It's all on record. It was on YouTube. I called the hospital back. They wouldn't let me talk to my daughter. I didn't hear from my daughter until August 27th. Then, Rutland Police Department didn't do anything either. I called them on the 17th and I called them on the 21st of July to find out what they did. And they said they didn't do anything. I called 3 times. And I'm pretty sure they have a record of it because I yelled at them. You damn straight I did, because I'm a distressed mother knowing that my daughter was getting abused. And another incident, I will not put name or person to this, but I'm also a witness to a situation where a person had gotten out of a psych ward that had been put in an involuntary hold. And they couldn't even stand up and walk straight. Several days later, Still not normal. I witnessed this person twitching, not being able to even balance, and let their clothes fall right off them and stood there naked. Laid down on a little couch like they were waiting to be violated. And I said, put some clothes on. What are you doing? And the person looked at me and said, you want me to? And I said, yeah, I want you to. Put some clothes on. What the hell's happened to you? Yeah. That's a product of Vermont Rutland Regional Medical Center. That's what they did to my daughter. And mind you, I said I wasn't going to say, but I'm not a liar, and I'm not going to hide what happened to my daughter. There's witnesses to that kind of activity. Janine at the Island Pond Post Office in Island Pond, Vermont, can tell you all about that. How my daughter was found. And the neighbor upstairs, I believe her name is Jen Watson, over the laundromat. I'm pretty sure she can verify the actions and how my daughter looked. And I know that Mary Richardson in North Anson knows what condition my daughter was in because she's seen her at Vic Near's store. And I know the thrift store in North Anson knows the status of what my daughter was. And I also know that the church in North Anson, as well as the Dr. Mann Road, knew the situation with my daughter. I'm just pointing out, we've got witnesses. The fact is, they're creditable witnesses. They all are very creditable. Amongst other witnesses. Okay? Just keep that as a reminder. So I'm not done, but I'm going to end this one, and I'm going to bring back and tell you some more.